Thank you. Last week, we had a meeting of data producers of EuroGeographics. I will tell you briefly what is EuroGeographics and how it impacts Ukraine. So if we look at their site, so their major tasks are to provide for various services. The second, experience of work with the relevant information and the voice of national cadasters, our European national mapping and land registry authorities. So they share their experience, expertise. So let's come back to the word infrastructure. It's three components. The first is technologies and technical documentation and specification. Then the processes go, various regulatory documents on which the functioning depends, and the most important are people. In fact, EuroGeographics, it's a work with real people, managers, technical specialists. There are many roles in geoinformatics, and instruments are just instruments, and the final result depends on the quality of the use of these instruments. There are analysts, there are managers, there are users, there are public authorities, and they all are represented at the EuroGeographics. They have been working for 25 years on various projects. So everything overlaps with what we do. So we may talk not only to the organization itself, but to the representatives of cadasters of the countries which are marked with green on this map. In fact, it's a typical meeting, and always agenda is always the same. They have a number of clients who require improvement on renewal of products. They have plans for producers. There is a core team which validates, transforms, and formulates this single database. And there are new instruments which they share all the time and train people. So their products, you see on
В принципі, всі продукти майже відкриті, тому ви можете ними
користуватися. You may use them. The only thing you need to do is to fill in the questionnaire. There is a global map of Europe, Eurovisional map, and 1 to 250,000. New product is Open Map Europe, scale 1 to 100,000. And you see Ukraine, and there is an open cadastre map where there are all land parcels, and 6 countries are represented. The first 4 cover almost all participants, and the 2 last products have about 10 countries each represented in them. There is a plan. What trends were this year? They focused on Open Map Europe product. They transferred open technologies, online instruments, which simplifies the whole process of verification. That was their objective over the recent years. They also want to engage us into this process. Most of the national cadasters use these instruments. And this year, they are working very seriously with clients. They've got feedback on the use of their products. So the first product is Euro Regional Map. You see 25 years, there is a passport, 7 million facilities, 60 layers. You may download it and to see it's a highly quality product. Then Open Map Europe product. You see this is a scale 1 to 10,000 and 25,000, 10 countries. And France, as an example, they have a single database on the territory on the scale of 1 to 10,000. They do not make any printed maps. The only task is to include this into and to run the single database. It consists of archived objects, existing objects, and with it all the services work, and from it they extract data for EuroGeographics. The interesting thing, they focused on history, data, how they organized in separate tables, because these details are very important, because they allow to set up top quality systems. You see service columns, data, verification, data status. So the structure of data, all this is important, and further you can see how they transformed their database into a specification of OME2. There is a whole presentation on how they formed their contribution. This is a feedback from the users, how they use the database, ERM, as the basic map. They use it, very many users use it as services. Why it is important for us to have data over there? The major clients, such organizations, Eurostat and Eurocommission, they provide to other European authorities engaged in renovation, investment planning projects. So they formulate requests to the single database and then forms all the information which is necessary for various agencies of the European Union. You see three levels. These are territorial level, like our oblasts, rayons, and communities, though they are not limited with whole countries, so they go deeper at the level of communities. So it's very detailed information. So this is new map, open map for Europe, coincides very much with the comprehensive plans which should be developed for communities. That's why it was important to get this specification, to compare it with our specification for urban development documentation, so that we are able to organize transformation of this data. It was integration with European partners. They had certain database with institutions, specifications with which we not just integrate but share data to have this common space. So there is requirements to data. They must meet specifications. Matching must be present. They should be coordinated. There are 420 rules. They must be historical. The attributes should be correct, because you cannot build a route for trucks. You must understand that this is a highway. So there are many necessary attributes which should be provided. When we filled the first ERM database, we had lots of problems only with waterways. We had to build waterway for Dnieper across the whole country, and we had 100,000 mistakes. They had to be corrected in every layer. And over there, they conduct a very strict validation. So the data of the bad quality is impossible to be uploaded into any European system. So this commission prepared lots of presentations. These are 30 people who are super GIS analysts.
Ну, в євро там, єврооргані.
And they do this work and fulfill requests for all European bodies. So they made many requirements towards the quality of data. And for them, the quality of data is very important. There were some presentations dedicated to the quality of data and resources which must be allocated and how the quality of data should be organized. They presented a number of examples. They evaluated open sources. Open sources didn't satisfy them. Then they organized, spoke about RMS. They evaluated roads, various levels, streets, So if there is a smaller number of classes of objects and there are mistakes,
він не дозволяє виконувати різні процеси, тому, по суті, вимоги до цих наборів, вони
the requirements to these sets of data were extremely important, the quality. So we cannot integrate by simply sending them some data. The data must be of the top quality and meet the requirements of Europe, which means very high quality. What can we take from this, and what we have to work with this standard?
Постійно змінюється динамічно, щороку, по суті, виходить нова версія.
In fact, the new version is in production of ERM. All these standards are open. You may get acquainted with them on this site. Comprehensive plans is the foundation for investment into communities and territories. And all this will be used for Open Map Europe. So it's necessary to, and it is possible to cooperate directly with them. These are real people. They have extremely valuable experience.
Що стосується верифікації, метчинга, ідж-метчинга між країнами.
We borrowed a lot of the instruments and ideas. They had an experience of 25 years, which is a huge experience. So we discussed with them that if we get any additional data, they will communicate with relevant services. So for this information to be used for the benefit of Ukrainian development, open source line is priority number one. Briefly, that's it. Thank you.